Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about how to use silicone molds to create stunning chocolate decorations. So I'm using Avaler molds. In Avaler we have 3 different types of molds. One is the cake molds. You can use them to bake cakes, but you can mainly use them to create mousse cakes. I'm not going to show you how to use these ones today. I'm going to show you the other 2. So the first one is our flat mold, basically some sort of character. We have different elements. We have a lot of different designs and creations that you can do with these. You can use them on cakes, bento cakes, cupcakes, cookies, or just on their own. And we have the 2-part 3D mold, which is basically a 2-part mold. They're put together, you can create a full figure, a 3D figure, put on top of cakes. So let's get started on our flat molds. Let's talk about the chocolate we're going to use on our mold. So there's basically kind of 2 types of chocolate. One of them is couverture chocolate. Couverture is the chocolate that we all know and love. It's the one that you buy at grocery stores, at the supermarket. It's those chocolate bars, pralines. And we have compound chocolate. Compound chocolate is not real chocolate because it's not made of cocoa beans at all. It's a compound of different oils. The difference between these 2 is that couverture chocolate needs to be tempered. If you don't temper it, it's probably not going to set, it's not going to break nice, it's not going to have a sheen, it's not going to work. So you need to know how to temper to work with that chocolate. That's a huge deal. We don't want to know how to do that. So we're going to use compound chocolate. Compound chocolate, basically all you need to do is melt it and pipe it in a mold, and that's it. And it sets on its own. It's that easy. I'm going to give you a link for the type of chocolate that I use. You have to make sure that you buy white compound chocolate. And we're going to color our white chocolate according to what we need. I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So let's talk about the equipment that we need to use. We need a flat surface to place our mold on top of. Now, it can be made out of everything. It could be cardboard, it could be a plastic lid, as long as it's a flat surface that you can place your mold on top of. So obviously we need the compound chocolate. We're gonna need to place it in a plastic bowl. Don't use metal, we're gonna use the microwave to melt the chocolate. Don't use glass either because glass do retain heat. This chocolate is super sensitive. It gets overheated really quickly. What happens when it heats up really fast and overheats? Your chocolate is ruined. Yes. You're gonna need some few little plastic balls that we're gonna use just to color our chocolate in. We're gonna need a rubber spatula. We're gonna need food colors. The important thing is that it has to be oil soluble. There's different types of food colors. Some of them are water soluble. And if you mix them in with the chocolate, it's gonna ruin your chocolate and you're gonna have to throw away the chocolate. Definitely, there's no going back after that. If you're using powder, then that's fine. There's no oil or water in powder, so it doesn't matter. A needle tool, which is this little thing. You're gonna need this to get into little crevices and little nooks and crannies in the mold. If you don't have that, you can just use toothpick. You need piping bags. I use the smaller type of piping bags. Really, we don't need a lot of chocolate. This particular mold, for example, was 4 millimeter thick, and it's about 20 grams of chocolate, which is like a quarter of a chocolate bar. I will say we do need a minimum quantity of chocolate to melt. If I melt like 20 grams of chocolate, it will set really fast. I mean, by the time I'm gonna place it in my piping bag, it will probably set. The minimum chocolate that you need to melt is about 150 grams, which is about 1 cup. Don't use less than that. But don't worry, whatever chocolate you have left, you can remelt, you can reuse, nothing goes to waste. So I have a little tip for you guys. How to keep your piping bags the same temperature while working on your molds. Now, this is important, especially if it's cold outside, if it's winter. The chocolate in your piping bags will set fairly quickly. First of all, make sure you don't place them on your counter or on your marble because they usually tend to be cold and they will harden your chocolate fairly quickly. Try to use either a tea towel or maybe a wood chopping board so you can place them on that and not directly on your counter or marble. Another great tip would be to use a water bottle with hot water inside because that will actually keep your piping bags in the same temperature. And the best thing that I found, which I highly recommend, is getting an electric pillow. Now, electric pillow is really, it's a lifesaver when it comes to these molds. You put it on the lowest setting and baking paper on top, and it basically keeps your piping bags and your chocolate at the same temperature for a very long time. So I can pipe 5, 6, 7 different type of molds and many different types of colors, and it will actually stay at the same temperature and the same consistency the whole time. If you like this video, hit the like button, turn on notifications, and make sure to subscribe. Now, the way this works is that we first pipe in our first layer, which will be our different colors. We're gonna pipe all the way up to the line. And then we're gonna do our second layer, which will be our support back wall. So just to show you what I mean, we have the different colors piped, and this is the back wall, the supporting back wall. Because these molds are very detailed and have very small details, some of them have many different types of colors, we need some support wall that's gonna hold all these colors together and prevent it from breaking. So the way I choose the color of the support wall is either by choosing the dominant color of my element, which is, in this case, would be white, or by the color of the cake that I'm using. So, for example, if I would use a purple cake, this will basically merge into the cake. So now we're ready to finally melt our chocolate. The way I'm gonna do it, and it's really important that you follow these steps exactly, is by placing our chocolate in our plastic bowl in the microwave 10 seconds at a time. Now it will take about 5, 6, 7 times. No, it's not a minute. Don't put it in for a minute, because if you put it in for a minute, you're gonna overheat your chocolate and ruin it. If you do longer than it, if you do, oh, I'm just gonna push it to 15 or 20 seconds at a time just to speed up the process. No, don't do that, don't do that. You are gonna overheat your chocolate. So I'm gonna show you every 10 seconds exactly how the chocolate looks like. So let's go melt it. So this is after 10 seconds. You can see it's just a little bit more shiny, and I can just move it around. Okay, another 10 seconds, and you can move it, but you can see a little bit is still stuck on the bowl. Okay, now you can see it's really starting to melt a little bit. You can see it gets stuck to my rubber spatula. Some of it has just started to melt. Okay, now my chocolate has really melted, but there's still little chunks in there, as you can see. Okay, now you can see my chocolate has really melted. If I can see any little chunks still in there, I'm not even gonna give it 10, I'm gonna give it another 5. Okay, and now, no little chunks, everything's completely melted. Now, it needs to be pretty fluid, as you can see. This is the consistency you want. If you're using a different type of brand that is maybe a bit thicker than this one, I would add about 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil just to make it a bit more runny like this one. So this is ready to get the color in. So we have 3 different colors, right? We have white, which is not a color, and we have our skin tone, which is tan or ivory. We have yellow for the hair, and red for the little stripes on the suits. So I'm gonna start with the lighter one with the tan. Don't need a lot, so I'm just gonna pour in just a little bit of the chocolate. Obviously, you can go as light or as dark as you want. Give it a mix. Once I finish mixing in the color, making sure I don't have any white left in there, I can take my piping bag. I'm gonna scrape down on my piping bag with my scraper, plastic scraper. And I'm gonna place it on my heating pillow. And I'm gonna do the same with my yellow and red. So at this point, I will need to color my supporting back wall, whatever color I decide to choose. Since I'm using white, then I need to make sure that I have enough white for his spacesuit and the back supporting wall. Okay, so now we're ready to start piping our mold. So the way I start piping my mold is from the center out. So I'm gonna start with his face here. So that's gonna be 10. I'm gonna cut a very small hole in my piping bag, very small. I'm just gonna check that it's running nicely, which it is. And I'm gonna start piping his face. So I'm really going all the way in, all these nooks and crevices that I have here. Make sure you're piping your color all the way up to the line. Don't go over the line. So I'm doing a constant pressure on my piping bag. Making sure I'm filling everything in. And then I'm just giving it a tap. Tap, 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 tap. You can see how it flattens everything and get rid of any little air bubbles that we have here. Next color, I'm gonna do the yellow. Again, making sure to get all the way up to this line. Get in there with the tip of your piping bag, all the way to these little nooks. Again, all the way to the line and tap. Now I'm gonna do the red, and I'm gonna do just those lines and accents. Again, all the way up to the line. Obviously, you can be as creative as you want, whatever colors you want to do. And now I'm gonna do the white for his suit. And I start piping. As you can see, I have this tiny little part where I can't get with my piping bag, so I'm just gonna use my needle tool. Just get in there with the chocolate. Again, you can use a skewer for this if you don't have a needle tool, it's fine. Make sure you wipe it clean after every time so the chocolate won't set on it. Now remember, I only pipe to the inner line. I'm not piping all the way to the end of the mold, just the inner line here. If your chocolate is nice and fluid, like mine, you're gonna tap and it's gonna flatten really nicely. If your chocolate is hardened, it's gonna be hard for you to pipe and it's not gonna flatten at all. And I'm gonna do the same on the rest, all the way to the inner line, not the top of the mold. I'm putting constant pressure on my piping bag, trying not to touch the bottom, not to touch the mold itself, but just keep the piping bag in the air. So it's time to do the support wall, the back supporting wall. In my case, it's white. In your case, it could be a different color. So I'm gonna use the same piping bag, and I'm just gonna cut a slightly bigger hole. There you go. Just because with a small hole, this will take forever, so. And now I'm gonna start piping. You don't have to wait for these colors to set. You can just start piping right away. Make sure you're getting all the way to the end of the mold, this part right here. Doesn't have to look nice at this point. And about a third way in, and tap. This really gives your mold a really nice, clean look on the back as well. If I need to get into any places here, just use my tool. You have any little leftovers on the side, you can go over this rubber silicone part, or with just your finger. This also works. Just to clean it off. Okay, that's it. So now all we have to do is put the mold in the fridge for a minimum of 10 minutes. Now you can put it for longer, you can put it for days if you want, but minimum would be 10 minutes in the fridge. So let's see how it looks like when we take it out. Okay, so our mold has been in the fridge for about 10 minutes. Before I demold it, I need to leave it outside in room temperature for about 4 minutes. So I'm gonna start by just pushing away this part of the mold, just this outside part. Just gently, don't have to force it. And now what I'm gonna do is just push the silicone down. I'm gonna put both my thumbs underneath the chocolate. Here I'm not touching anything basically, I'm just holding it, I'm not pushing or anything. I'm just pushing with my thumbs, very gently, basically lifting the chocolate up. Just be really gentle with this. It's pretty sturdy, but you don't want to break it. Just push down, and there you go. There's a cute little astronaut. So as you can see, it looks really nice. It has a lot of details in it. The back is really nice and flat, and it's gonna merge nicely on a cake or as a topper. If you wanna stick it on a cake, all you have to do is just pipe some chocolate on the back, same color as our back supporting wall, obviously. Take your cake out, leave it outside for about 2-3 minutes, so just it won't be like really super cold. And then stick it on the side of the cake. I'm gonna show you now what to do if a part of your mold has broken off. Somehow, for some reason, it shouldn't happen, but you know, things happen. I'm actually gonna break this mold, which is horrible, but I'm gonna do it. So, this little hand, it's broken. So I'm gonna show you how to fix it. It's really easy. I'm gonna use the same color as the part that broke, which is white. Do a very, very small hole in my piping bag. I'm gonna pipe just a very small line and reattach it like surgery. Just give it a little wipe with my finger. And now I'm not gonna touch it for about 30 seconds. And now you can see when I lift it up, it's nice and secure back again. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to attach a stick on the back if you want to use this as a topper, so it's actually going to stand on the cake. So you can use either a skewer, like a wooden skewer. You can use a straw, paper straw. I like to use these candy sticks because I just find they look the best in my opinion. Basically, I'm just going to turn this little guy around. I'm going to use the same color that I use on my back supporting wall. I'm going to place a little line here on his foot. I'm going to stick my stick on it. And then a little bit more chocolate on the stick itself. If it's cold enough, it's going to set fairly quickly. If not, you can put it again in the fridge for 1 or 2 minutes. That will be enough. So this was in the fridge for about a minute. The popsicle stick is now nice and hard. And there we go. We have our cake topper. I hope you're going to use these molds by Avaler and have fun while creating them. So enjoy your beautiful creations.